Welcome to the Contemporary Policy Institute, informing the public debate on the policy challenges facing the U.S. and the world. Please welcome our founder and president, Andy Thornburn.
The word of the week is tautological. Now, a tautological argument is basically a circular argument, which means that it's an argument which begins at the end. So in other words, it uses the very proposition that you're trying to prove and discuss as a given in the beginning of the argument. So it becomes circular. And the reason we want to use that as the word of the week is to apply the lens of a circular argument to the current arguments being put forth by the people who are opposed to abortion at all times, under all circumstances. And the arguments that have been put forth have changed over the years. For a long time, while Roe was in effect and women had the freedom in most states to get abortions, they kind of gave disguised arguments. But over the years, they've become bolder and bolder in asserting their true position. And the true position is that human life begins at the moment of conception. And recently, to illustrate this, the New York Times published an op-ed by someone who is opposed to abortion. And she's a philosopher who works for a think tank that's dedicated to ethics and public policy. And I use it as an example because a lot of people have used similar language. And what I want to highlight here is that the very second sentence of her article says that the goal of the pro-life movement is to ensure that unborn children are protected by law. And she further says that the unborn child's state of existential dependence is what makes it especially entitled to care. And then finally, to exclude some human beings from the law's protection is an egregious human rights violation. Now here's why that's a circular argument. We all agree that if you left children or other human beings out of the law's protection, there would be no argument. It's a violation of human rights. But the whole issue is, when does human life begin? That's the issue. We all agree. Under Roe v. Wade, there was a decision that a human life begins at the moment of viability. And at that point, it's entitled to the law's protection. But if you want to say that a fertilized egg, which is the width of a human hair, doesn't look like a human being, doesn't have any organs, can't function like a human being, but if you want to say that that deserves more protection from the law than a woman's right to make choices about her reproductive life, then you have a burden to prove that that ball of cells deserves legal protection. You can't make the argument by saying, I just want to protect unborn children, because we all want to protect unborn children. That's the question, not the answer. And so the pro-life movement, as it likes to call itself, has to come up with a reason why a woman's right to control her own decisions does not take precedence over a fertilized egg.